introduce myself, Rick Green, Chairman of the Conservation Commission.
Which class name, member?
Tony Capola, member.
And Mark Kresge, staff clerk.
We have guests, Mia,
Mia McDonald from Mass DEP.
okay, and Luke and Sandy Cisco. Okay. First item is the minutes, approval of the minutes. I looked at the
Oh,
drafts. I thought they were.
I forgot to print out a copy of that, but I did send it around.
I did read them online, so,
I thought they looked great.
yeah. I
Did
approved
you look?
them.
No, but if you guys are fine with them.
Well, they were uncharacteristically complete and
They were very good.
well articulated. So I make a motion we accept the minutes as drafted.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. New business, emergency certification, Ware River Trail, rail trail repair work, which has been done. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
The certification's been done. I'm not sure where they stand on the physical work.
Right.
They had a possibility of starting the work last week. I don't know if that actually went off or not, but
Yeah. Okay, but the paperwork's done.
yeah.
Okay, any other new business? Old business, discussion of Moose Horn Pond vegetation cutting alterations enforcement order. I think this, since we took a walk out there some time ago and Alan Rantella was there. And subsequent to that, it looks like, I understand you've removed some structures and so on. The affected areas. And,
This is Rolling Wood?
no, this is Moose Horn,
Oh, moved to,
The disc golf course.
All right.
On a disc golf course.
Well,
It
then
wasn't a real disc golf course.
it was just
It was
fast.
just me and my friends out there throwing our putters. Like, it was not by any means a real disc golf course.
That's it. Well, you did a nice job out there anyway.
It was a pre-existing trail.
Yeah,
Like, I didn't go out and cut down, I didn't cut down a single tree. Like, all it was my loppers and clearing brush that grew up on a pre-existing trail. It's the only way we can access our property because the beavers flooded it all.
he's gonna get very emotional. He seriously never cut down a tree. Mostly everything brush piles made was chewed by beavers. Almost everything.
Yeah.
You know, they chewed, it's all mountain laurel, most of around the
Yeah,
trails.
those piles weren't
And
chewed by
they-
beavers.
Oh, yes, they
Oh,
were.
no, they weren't.
They
I know what
stick off-
beavers do. That wasn't chewed by beaver.
They bite off the entire mountain laurel. And, well, they don't eat mountain
But
laurel.
either way, it was a pre-existing
Yeah, it
trail
was.
that I cleaned up. Like,
That trail's been there since.
as kids, we
yeah.
rode our pedal bikes out to the railroad tracks on it. As a teenager, I rode my four-wheeler and snowmobile on it.
It's
Like, it was a
serious.
pre-existing trail that all the neighbors use.
All our neighbors, they're all wicked sad about this. Because we all used it, one of them blew the leaves because the ticks are
Yeah,
so bad
it's
out
leaf
there.
blowing right now.
Yeah,
Like, one of the neighbors went out and leaf blew it right now. Like, all we did was cut down the brush to keep the ticks off us and our dogs.
yeah.
On a trail that's been there for well over 40 years.
It's been there my whole life. I've lived in town my entire life. I'm 60, as soon as I could ride a bike, I lived on Brigham Street, grew up on Brigham Street. We rode our bikes down to the railroad tracks, down the tracks, to the dam. That trail's been there forever.
And now you guys have turned all our neighbors against us and they tell us we can't even walk, like, we can't access our property without using that trail. Because the beavers have turned our property into a giant beaver swamp.
Yeah. We used to be able to walk straight out our backyard. We had a little bridge across the brook, to the railroad
A
tracks.
brook as wide
Now
as
we
that
can't even-
table, and now it's a
It's a
200
giant,
foot wide, 500 foot wide swamp.
you know, but that's irrelevant, Luke.
It's not irrelevant. We need the trail. And we shouldn't be getting in trouble for maintaining it.
All the neighbors enjoyed the walking trail. That's all I can say. They all walk their dogs. We all walk our dogs every single day out there.
Yeah, it's nice out there.
Yeah, and they all participated. You know, one of the
Like, I didn't build
bridges.
those bridges.
One of the
Another
neighbors
neighbor built the bridges that are out there. Like, everybody had their hand in this
Yep, every
trail.
single person. They all loved it. All of our neighbors down the road brought their kids out there to throw discs too. They also enjoyed it, even though not all the neighbors walked their dogs. All the neighbors were able to enjoy it, and everybody on our street loved it.
But love it or not.
Yes, I
it's-
understand.
Okay.
I understand.
I mean, we had people on Old Westminster Road whose kids had to walk in the road to get to their neighbors, so they put a couple of planks across the little brook.
Yeah,
And they were told they couldn't do it, their kids had to walk in the street
Yeah.
and the traffic,
Yeah.
so,
right,
you know.
right.
And the beaver dam that disappeared there, and there's all.
So I walked DCR in 2019
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
the other thing.
And I told him that we pulled sticks out of that outlet when the water overflowed the dam. He told me that was not an outlet on the map, and that I was perfectly okay doing that.
As a matter of fact, he also
He's-
inspected the trails and said it was beautiful, that they encourage that type of land
And we only
use.
opened up the beaver dam when the water's pouring over the top of the
You
man
can't
dam.
take down a beaver dam without
But
permission
DCR
from
told
Board
me
of
I was
Health.
okay doing that because that was not a map tributary.
That's
That goes-
not the
that's
part of
through
the
Board of
dam.
Health.
That's a low point on the pond. That our neighbor who reported this and started all this at 65 Hillville Road, he wrote us a letter accusing us of digging a slough in the dam and a trench about 1,000 feet long. He accused us of that. When I got the letter, it was outrageous. And DCR had
He's not
already
even a
been out
full-time
and
resident.
inspected
Not even
that.
a full-time resident in town, doesn't know what he's talking about.
DCR had already inspected that and told us it wasn't part of the dam. It was overflow, and that we could pull branches out of that and keep it flowing, which by the way is Mason Brook and the waterfall. And when that guy went out there, our neighbor, and he accused us of draining Moosehorn. He's like,
It's a tributary of Mason Brook, it's not Mason
then that's
Brook.
exactly what he said. It's not a tributary to the brook. It's just overflow water. And I took pictures of it because when you guys went out there, it was dried up because of the drought. Which is what 65 Hillville Road was worried that we were draining the pond because he claims it's the lowest it's ever been. Well, he hasn't lived on this. He's lived on it for 20 years. Well, I've lived on Hillville Road for 40 years. When I first started going out there with my kids, when they were just little, you could walk in front of the trees on the dam. Those trees are underwater now, and they were even at the lowest point this summer. They were still underwater. He doesn't even know what he's talking about, and he accuses us of digging a trench in the dam.
Well, they used to have access to the pond from their property.
We were in a drought
Yes,
all summer.
yes.
It didn't rain all summer long. Every pond in town was low.
Exactly, the
Every
the
single
waterfall
pond
was
down was
completely
low.
dried up. The waterfall wasn't dropping one drop of water. And there
Wow.
was no water in the so-called trench that we dug, that we didn't. I took pictures of it. He's insane if he thinks we dug that. That has been there forever. When I first started dragging my kids out there, we would walk we could cross the brook in our backyard. We would walk to the tracks, we'd walk down the tracks, and then there was the path. We come down the path to the dam. Somebody had benches in front of the dam. It was a great place for fishing. We were there all the time. But this exact trench that he thinks we dug, we used to jump over it. It was this wide. We'd jump over that. Then years later, when the other neighbors built on the road, they put some big logs across it. And in the wintertime, they were slippery. And then finally, the one neighbor made a bridge. We had nothing to do with any of that. And you know what? That same doctor on 65 went out there in his exploration of why the pond was so low. It's a drought. All the ponds are low. He went out there, he flipped the bridge over,
Tore down our posted
tore
signs.
down, he tore down our posted signs the year before. Because he claims he's been hunting out there forever.
No one had a problem with him cutting trees
Yeah.
into the pond and telling
He-
people they couldn't fish in it,
right.
you know?
He cut two giant oak trees on the edge of his land into the pond and told people they couldn't fish between the two trees because that was his property. And he owned that part of the water. And this is the guy
This
that,
guy's crazy. You know he's doing is causing problems for other people.
that's all he does. He
We're
gets,
maintaining a trail that's been there for well over 40
Mhm.
years. How is that a problem?
I've been
And
out
now
there.
it's the only way for us to access our property.
And that doesn't even matter, Luke. It's the fact that that trail's been there forever. And yeah, he's used a weed whacker for all the neighbors, and he's not the only neighbor that does a weed whacker. The other ones do too, to keep the brush back, to keep the ticks off of us. Because there's more ticks out there than anywhere. And we all walk our dogs out there, every last one of us. And it's wicked sad that we can't even do that anymore. Because he thinks we're that's insane. You know, we even have, what would be our purpose to do that? It makes no sense. It'd be better for us if that brook dried up. We could get back in our land again. Makes no sense at all. I didn't even respond to his letter because DCR had already been out there and told us everything was fine. And nothing has
And what was the
changed.
point of me walking DCR around in 2019?
Yeah.
Nothing's changed since I
Not
walked
one
them
thing
around.
has changed out there. Not a single thing. And DCR, like now we get dragged in here after DCR told us it was beautiful. They encourage that kind of land use. Most of it, as was said, I don't know why that's listed as state land when it's the guy that owns the halfway house. Like, I don't know, does he lease it or what? I don't know. But every other neighbor was in on it, on maintaining the trails. Every other one of them.
Well, isn't the fact that Beaver Dam is gone, isn't that a large part of the existing problem?
Yeah, but that was one of the violations, I guess. Yes.
And how did that dam disappear?
What dam?
The
The
beaver
dam's
dam.
there. The dam's there. The original the original dam on Moosehorn is an earthen dam. There was a spillway in the middle of that dam. The beavers dammed up the middle of the spillway.
Which
And-
What you guys looked at isn't the real river.
That's not
The river's
that.
off to the right.
Yeah.
Like,
But even a,
that's in
but
the-
even a
By the
spillway.
dock that's on
If
the
the
Right.
beavers have,
Right.
if the beavers have built it up, you
DCR told me I could do that.
can't.
Okay, but that, I was
Oh,
under the
look,
impression
don't
I
talk.
could.
Don't talk.
You can't.
But
But
that's
how am I supposed to know that? I talked to a state official. I was under the impression I
Okay,
could.
stop.
How am I supposed
That's
to know
not the
otherwise?
spillway. This is at the very end of the dam, and it's just a low point. It's not the spillway, it's not the dam. It's the very end of the dam, and this is what DCR told us.
I just lost 2.5 acres because of the beavers,
Right,
and I can't touch it.
right. And you wanna know something? You wanna know how I'm telling you the truth? The people that live at 55 Hillville Road own the beginning of the dam, okay? Well, their land, he thought he owned the dam, and they owned like, say 100 feet of the trail from my house to the dam, which all the neighbors from my house, Kevin Young, the next house, the people that, I call them shepherds, but that's not their name, we all originally walked that trail straight to the dam. Then they came out, they had a mean dog, and they said, we don't want you crossing I was out on the dam when the man came out and said, we don't want you, he told all of us neighbors, we don't want you crossing our land to get to the dam. We don't want you on the dam. And I was out there and he was pulling the brush from the beavers out of the real spillway. And I told
Which you're
him-
not supposed to do.
Exactly. I said, you know what? I go, you don't own the dam. DCR owns the dam. So you can't stop anybody from being here. And I go, and by the way, it's illegal to touch that beaver stuff that you're doing right now. So we never touched anything until DCR came out there and said, this isn't part of the dam. This is the at the end of the dam. It's a low point, and it kind of looks like it now because the beavers have built it up. I'm telling you, they're 3 feet in front of the trees. The water has, until this drought this summer, but it's back up here after the rain. The water's way higher, way more water behind that dam than, like, you could ever dream of. Before you could just about walk to, this end of the swamp of Moosehorn was a swamp.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not make the walk, but I have seen pictures of the dam
Yeah.
and the spillway.
Yep.
And it looks like more than somebody just pulled branches out.
Oh, no.
It looks like there was actually some kind of machinery
Oh, my God.
that removed earth from there.
No.
Well, that's what the pictures.
No, that's been
That's from the
forever.
water.
Do you agree?
That's from the
That's
water
from the
All
eroding
right.
it away.
Now, you've seen this?
That's from the water eroding it away.
The what? That's
Because the actual river is so clogged up, that much water rushes through
Exactly.
there.
The water is rushing through there more and more every year because the other spillway's been dammed by the beavers. We never ever. Why would we do that? What would be our purpose? That makes no sense.
Right.
Makes no sense at all. We sure as heck can dig that spillway. That's always been there. It's getting bigger because of the other one being dammed. And if you follow that down, that part's getting bigger. Right now, because of this last summer, grass grew up in it. But, I mean, that has nothing to do with us. That serves us no purpose at all. I'd rather that river dried up. I could get back out to on my land, which has turned into a giant swamp. Can't get to the other half of our land. We own 9 acres. From right behind our house, for I don't know, how many feet across is that? 200, 300 feet? It's nothing but a swamp. It used to be hardwood. It used to be maple. Red maple. It was nice. We could walk right up to the brook, get to the other side. The brook wasn't
It's
very wide.
insanity that the beavers have more rights than the landowners.
Well, it doesn't matter because they do.
It's insanity.
It's not our fault though. We didn't dig that. That's been there forever. Since as long as I have lived in Hubbardston, that has been there. As long as I've lived in
They're telling us
Hubbardston.
we
And I'm
can't
62
clear brush on our
years
land
old.
because of the beaver swamp. That's what they're saying. We can't clear brush on our land because of the beaver swamp. It wouldn't be a beaver swamp. It was a hardwood forest, with a brook as wide as that table. It wouldn't be a beaver swamp and it wouldn't be wetland. And I'm not even clearing brush, I'm cleaning up a pre-existing trail. Like, this is the biggest issue. It was a pre-existing trail. What is the harm in keeping that clean?
Yeah.
Nobody's told me what the harm in keeping this trail clean is.
Any trees that he did, maybe like, I don't know how
I
many.
never cut down a
was
single
never
tree.
cut down a tree.
I
They're
never cut
all
down a
beaver
single
killed,
tree.
beaver girdled, or blown over because now the roots are so wet that I don't know if you've seen all the giant blowover trees right at the dam where the roots are so wet from the water going. That's not us. We're not cutting down trees out there or anything.
Well, anyway, there's a story, the DCR looked at and issued letters to them, citing what the violations are. Alan Rantella sent a letter out. Do you want to say anything, Mia, about this, or?
I'm just here if you have any questions, looking for any guidance on anything. I really don't want to lead the conversation. I'm just here to support you.
I will ask a question.
Sure.
The part of the dam or what has been dug out, overflowed, whatever, can that be filled in with earth?
No, any alterations just need a permit. Anything you want to do in a wetland resource area, and this area specifically it's covered by a lot of different regulations. There's Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, there's the Watershed Protection Act, which is through DCR, and then this is also priority habitat. So it's also, you might need to consult with the Division of Fish and Wildlife. Doesn't mean it's impossible, it just means that you need to contact these agencies with the scope of your work and
Listen,
ask them about
Google.
impacts.
We did not dig that out.
Well, it just,
That's all natural.
the only reason I ask is that I'm guessing that that's a large part of the problem, is a lot of water is running out of that tributary.
Yeah, it's
And if that was blocked up, maybe
I think
the,
it's a big.
Then the whole thing overflows over the top in the spring.
The beavers will probably next spring put more branches
It's
there.
already all clogged up.
Yeah. And the thing is,
But come next spring, that
It will-
whole
the entire
land dam
dam
is going to be overflowing.
overflowing, that's what happens.
And will be impassable.
Right.
Yeah, the whole thing, like it's, but we didn't dig that trench.
well, I mean, it just seems like if that trench,
Like where our canoe is, like that will be unreachable
Right,
next spring.
yeah. And the thing
There'll
is,
be
like,
2
you
feet
guys are
of water
taking the
gushing over
word,
it.
you're taking the word of this man who acts like he's smarter than everybody here and thinks that we dug a trench. It makes no sense at all. I didn't even respond to him, like, why would we do that? Why would we dig a trench in the dam? Doesn't make no sense at all. Because
Right.
I didn't even respond to him. DC had already inspected it, you know?
Right.
And you know what? And if you don't believe me that DCR inspected, they sent certified letters to all of our neighbors, and we all went out there with them. Because they said they were going out there to look at the beaver dam.
This is in 2019. you're telling me,
19. They sent certified letters to everybody.
but that was what, 2 years ago?
Yes. But no cutting, nothing is done, nothing like he said. He gave Luke a map, he said don't cut in these areas. This is all really nice. We love this, we encourage people to use the land. Everybody that goes out there respects the woods and loves the woods. And we would never do anything to harm the woods, or the beavers for that matter. Or any of the
Has the
wildlife.
commission read the letter from DCR? I have it here. I tried to find the 2019 letter. Alan Rentala is the man I'm speaking with at DCR. He works under Dan Clark. Dan Clark is his supervisor who signed the letter. Alan told me that this is the second violation and it's identical to the first violation except more extensive. That this 2022 violation is more extensive than the 2019 violation. That was also a violation. I'd just like to read his letter if that's okay. Dear Mr. Cisco, and this is addressed to Luke
This is
Cisco
from
at 41.
2019.
This is from 2022. I was looking for, I couldn't find the
Because
2019.
there wasn't a letter in 2019. I wasn't
Yeah.
under in
So all I can
violation in
discuss is
2019.
So I guess all we can discuss
We
Please let me finish. I guess all I can discuss
ahead,
is the
yeah, go ahead.
2022 letter. And it's addressed to Luke Cisco, 41 Hillville Road, regarding the Watershed Protection Act at Mason Brook, Moosehorn Pond, Hubbardston, Mass. Dear Mr. Cisco, recently it was reported to DCR that several violations occurred on your neighbor's properties. DCR and the Hubbardston Conservation Commission investigated the report and agreed multiple violations did occur. These violations are violation of the Watershed Protection Act, alteration of the primary protection zone, and alteration of bordering vegetated wetlands. Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, destruction of vegetation. Massachusetts Endangered Species Act prohibits the unauthorized alteration of significant habitats. Not beaver. Beaver are not significant habitats. Hunting prohibits the destruction, altering, or damage of a beaver dam. Waterways prohibits any lowering of the water level of a great pond. DCR is aware that you are responsible for these violations. However, because you have agreed to remove all structures related to the disc golf course and will cease any additional activity, DCR will not seek legal action. If in the future you are planning to do any work on your property that is within the jurisdictional area shown on the attached map, DCR highly advises you to contact this office to prevent any violations and legal ramifications. If you have any questions, please contact Alan Rentala. Thank you. Signed, sincerely, Dan Clark, Regional Director.
And he
We're not
removed everything.
responsible for the water level going down.
Yeah, we're
the fact
definitely
that
not.
it didn't rain for 4 months is responsible for the water level going
We
down.
did
I'd
not
also
do
like
that.
it noted in the minutes, if you wouldn't mind, that the violations were observed to have occurred not from trail maintenance, but from the installation of a disc golf course.
not a disc golf course.
Would you like me to share the social media posts
Yeah.
about your disc golf course and
It's
the
just
cutting
me
you
and my
did?
friends.
I'll
It's
just
with
read it
friends.
then. It's fine. Is the commission aware of the disc
Like
golf
it's me and
course?
like 25 of my friends
May I
going
please
out
speak?
there.
May I
Like, it's
please-
not like it's a public
Chairman,
disc
I
golf
request
course.
that you allow me to speak for a few
I
moments
don't know what you're
uninterrupted.
talking about.
Okay, please.
Thank you. So a disc golf course was observed by Alan Mantala. I did also invite the other two property owners who reported to me that a disc golf course was installed
Because
on their
there's
property.
temporary baskets out there.
You're not supposed to talk now.
The two other property owners, I invited, just like I said, I was gonna invite all the property owners that DCR wrote letters to. Should also be noted that DEP is the enforcement arm for the Watershed Protection Act. We do the enforcement. In this case, DCR has decided not to proceed with any additional enforcement. DEP, as you know, there was another case recently in Hubbardston where there was a violation of the Watershed Protection Act, and DEP did have to enforce. DEP's enforcement arm is very strong. Once violations happen in a resource area, it's tens of thousands of dollars in required restoration. By allowing the enforcement to remain with the local commission, there can be communication, long-term planning, education and outreach. And the best part is that we can just cease and desist and allow the area to regrow without any fines or additional enforcement.
It's like
So we want
30
to
feet
see, DEP would like to see this staying with the commission.
Yeah.
We would like to see it not escalated, but it does need to be noted what happened. Maintenance of a trail, which is generally about 30 inches wide,
Yeah,
is usually allowed as long as there's no alteration of what usually involves trimming and pruning.
yeah.
We have observed extensive vegetation alteration in social media posts and also from the watershed protection people at DCR. So this just has to be acknowledged before we can move on. We'd also love to see a long-term discussion about beaver management. It sounds like this pond has a lot of problems with beavers.
We have 5 lodges that I know of right in front of my eyes.
If it's on private property, you do have to contact a private consultant, but they can put something together, apply for the appropriate permits. Beavers can be managed, they can be a nuisance. But it just needs a permit from the Conservation Commission. And they're right here, you're here every month. These are your neighbors.
Yep.
These are people that live in your town. You can call them, contact them, come to the meetings and have informal discussions, file formal permits.
Can I just say one thing?
I'm done, thank you. It's up to
Yeah.
the chairman, actually, he's.
Because I just
Okay,
want.
before we get off, we've noted this in our minutes. So it's pretty clear from the jurisdictional side or whatever, what you've said and what Alan's written.
Yeah, a violation has occurred, but it's still in your jurisdiction. It hasn't been elevated to DEP. Like I said, we have, the Wetlands Protection Act is a state law, but it's administered by the local conservation commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to reiterate that, yes, you know, he trimmed the brush around the trail. We did not dig that overflow
Right.
trench.
Right, well, that's,
And they're like, they're saying we're draining the pond.
Well, I never-
That is not for us. That is not, that, I swear to God, we did not dig that. It's been there forever.
Right, right. I
And I never cut any brush in
Right.
the red zone of the map that
Yeah.
Alan gave me.
And I also want to reiterate that DCR, when they came out 2 years ago, so like this was very, we're both very emotional because we love it out there and they
Right.
told us it was fine. And now they're saying, and there
Well-
were no fines issued, there were no violations issued to us back then, we have nothing. Other than the man came out there, he wrote nothing, he mailed us nothing, we received nothing about violations. The guy from DCR came out there and said it was nice.
okay, at this point, there's been extensive vegetation removed. There's no doubt about it. It's nice and clear.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. There's little Adirondack chairs out on the point.
Yes.
It's like an acre of brush has been cut
Well,
down
that's
and put in,
all Mount Laurel that's
and-
already grown
and put in
back.
piles. So it's, you know, it's nice work. It's nice and clean. It's great.
Yeah,
But it's in violation of some laws, so that's the problem. And so the letter has been written,
Yeah.
So,
And he
and,
did
and
cease and
the
desist,
idea is to let
and
this.
he's taken everything down.
Right, that's
You
good.
know, we've complied with everything we have, and
Not being a real disc golf course, it took me 2 days to bring everything in.
yeah.
Right.
Like the fact that baskets are out there doesn't make it a real disc golf course. Like those baskets
Right.
are temporary. I could drive.
Right,
I could go up to the
but
trails on Mount Jeff and take
It does look
pictures
like
and make
an
a social
eight-
media
it does look like
platform
there was
and make it look
eight-
like a
An
disc golf
18 hole
He's
disc
just
golf
gonna get
course.
very emotional
Right.
because Luke has an illness and he spends his entire day out in the woods. You know, he can't work, and so like he has no money. He spends it all in the woods. We love the woods. Like that's all I can tell you. You know,
Right, so it's great. You took the stuff down, the,
he did.
the
He took
structure's
everything
down.
Yep.
You know, what I saw when I was out there is the erosion, Tony, on the earthen dam. It looks like, you know, the brush is removed from the
We
beaver
took.
dam,
He took nothing
but
off that.
but the
dam.
water eroded. You know, basically, I don't see any machine work per se, but the water has come down over the earthen dam, which is, by the way, a little dike that's no wider than this table almost. That was thrown up probably in the days when they had the ice house out there.
But like I said, I've just seen
Water.
pictures. I didn't make the walk with
Yeah.
you, so. You know.
But anyways, it is what it is right now, and the letter has been written. The letters have been written, so I don't know what else to say, except for there's some interest in doing a cease and desist. In addition to that, letters. I don't know if
Alan Rantala from the Watershed Protection Act, he's satisfied with what he has. But as far as the Wetlands Protection Act, you know, I wish I could find that 2019 letter. I can't find it. I don't know if I ever even
Says we
saw
can
it,
get one.
or if it was just a discussion. But Alan did express that this is the second time that this has happened, and I don't even know if it was you. I don't know if it was a different neighbor. I don't want to speak to that because I don't have the letter, you know?
yeah.
So I can't really enter those facts into the record. I just know that Alan said that this was the second violation like this in this area. So as far as the commission goes, where it's a second offense, it might be advisable because when things start repeating, if your best defense is record keeping. You know, if the commission feels like this discussion and noting it in the minutes is sufficient, you know, maybe writing a letter to follow up to summarize is sufficient, or the other is an enforcement order, and then what would you like to see in that enforcement order? It sounds like a cease and desist from all cutting, and that's already being complied
Yeah.
with, and that's just a record.
Yeah.
You know, just, Best DP does recommend that the commission records this in some way so that if it happens a third time, you know, unfortunately, if it happens a third time, I know that DCR, well, I can't say I know, I believe that DCR would elevate it to legal ramifications.
It won't happen again.
Okay.
You know, he's removed everything. We can't even walk out there. Our neighbors had to post his land, the one that owns the state house, you know, because they told him, they advised him to. So we can't even walk out there anymore, sadly.
Now we can't get to our land.
It doesn't matter, it's not their problem.
so. What is the appetite for the commission? Do we want to issue a cease and desist, or just follow up with a letter
I think we should
with the minutes?
issue a cease and desist, that way they will have that on record anyway.
How about you, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we will comply completely with it.
Yeah, I don't think the intent is to keep people from using recreation.
Yeah.
The land for recreation.
It's terrible because all of us, like I said, it was nice and it was enjoyed by a lot of people.
Right.
And it really wasn't anything destructive out there. Not in my mind, you know? I mean, I'm an environmentalist, I went to school for that too, and I love all of that and just, you know.
Yeah. All right, I guess we will follow up with a letter saying, don't do this anymore.
Oh, we won't.
I
A
know.
letter or an enforcement order?
Enforcement order.
Okay.
Okay.
So the actual language that you would be checking off here is that the property owner, his agents, permittees, and all others shall immediately cease and desist from any activity affecting the buffer zone and/or resource areas.
And you said a 30-inch wide path is a
If it's in
legitimate,
existence.
is
Yeah, and
a
that's up to you, you
a
know.
legitimate path, and I don't
Yeah.
think we would have any objection
No,
to that.
No.
Existing 30-inch walking trails, you know,
Yeah.
if trees start growing in or a limb falls across, it's just when you start expanding, cutting around it.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
All right, I guess that's where
We
we,
need a formal vote.
Yeah, you should vote if you wanna issue
Okay.
enforcement order.
I make a motion that we,
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I urge you to come back, you know, you have Alan's number. I call Alan all the time with technical questions about, because he's the Watershed Protection Act. A lot of times our
Okay.
stuff overlaps and I have to call him. He's just like, and me too, I'm available, the commission's available. You can email, you can call. It's not that you can't use the property, it's just any alterations, you just gotta pass by the commission first.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're, right.
All set?
Yes, we are.
Thank you all very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you very much. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry, what was your first name?
I'm Sandy.
Sandy.
Sandy Cisco.
Sandy Cisco.
Cisco.
I think I know you somehow.
Tony Capola.
Yeah.
I live on the street from me.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, okay. I used to bring my dog to your wife.
Yep.
That's the best
did?
there is. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Sandy. Bye-bye. Okay,
Where we left.
what else we have?
Certificate of compliance.
For
That
29 North Common Pond Road.
Yep. Astoundingly, all right, this was two separate order of conditions. One-
Sorry, I'm sorry. Would you like to leave now, or you're
I'm
gonna?
just gonna wait a couple minutes.
Okay.
Bring the heart rate down.
You've been through this before, huh? You're a smart lady.
That's true. I wanted to allow you, you don't have to sit through the rest of this meeting, although it's gonna be short.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So 15 years ago, two separate order of conditions, one for installation of the well. This is 29 North Comet Pond Road, the end of North Comet Pond Road. Owner is Susan Roberts, current owner is Susan Roberts, but she's got a Northborough address. I'm not sure if she lives there or rents it out or whatever. But anyway, one for installation of the well, one for installation of the septic system. They never filed for a certificate of compliance. Astoundingly, we have a stamped as-built plan for the septic system installation. So it was put in according to the original plan. We have the as-built that was put in according to the original plans that were submitted for the order of conditions. We don't have anything.
But what, it never went before the Board of Health or anything? I mean, where did it get hung up?
Well, they just,
If
they didn't go to the record of deeds and
if nobody asks you for an order or
Of
for a
conditions.
certificate of compliance, it just sits out there. Strictly speaking, the order of conditions.
Okay, so all it is no order.
There are no perpetual conditions associated with this. It was just for construction.
Okay.
So basically, your order of conditions expires after 3 years. But it's still sitting out there against the property at the
it's a lien.
registry of deeds.
Lien.
Well,
Kinda
not
like-
really.
which is what
But
we've been,
the lawyers aren't happy with
what
it.
they changed, because now they're making it, they're not giving them their permits until they get that stuff done. They're making sure now. At least when Mallory was here, that's what was
So
happening.
I missed that.
She was making sure that all that stuff was getting documented through the court, through the record of deeds before they were getting their building permits. Or their permits to do the.
Okay,
Before the works-
that's the order of
Before the
conditions.
work started.
That's,
Yeah.
Your
Before the work
conditions, right.
started, Mallory was making sure
yeah.
that they got that done, because we ran into a couple other ones that didn't
They never,
Never went to the record of deeds either.
Right.
Okay.
And actually, I'll be curious to see how it works out with CalMec, because we just sent CalMec their order of conditions
Yeah.
and said, pretty please record this at the registry of deeds. But
which can be done
we'll have
the
to.
next day or
Well,
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, as I suggested, to see if it actually does get recorded. Anyway, back to this. So we've got the as-built for the septic plan. There's nothing really associated with the well. The well's there. It presumably was put in according to the original
It's 100 feet from
conditions that were written, but there's no way of really verifying that 15 years later, what they used for a construction method.
20. You must have been on that.
So it's just a formality. We need to sign.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the original, if you wanna look at them, we've got the plans, we've got the original order of conditions that was written for the well and
That's
for the,
amazing. That's amazing. You have found that all its paperwork.
well, it was recorded. That's where I got it from. I downloaded it from the registry of deeds. And what the lawyers are looking for at this point, that's the well. This is the sewage septic system. So what the lawyers are looking for at this point in order to sell the property is a verification from the commission that the work was completed according to your original order.
Okay. So anyway, I think we need to sign this.
And the as-built matches with the plans that were submitted as part of the notice of intent and order of conditions.
I suppose this thing goes in. I wonder if we do the proposed or disposal system.
This is the one most of us signed already.
It's a pretty fancy system, the trench system.
Is this the one we signed? Some of us signed this one, or those?
Nothing's been signed. This is the first time we've talked about this. Once we finish with this, though, I would like to circle back to the Cisco enforcement order and see how you want to deal with that. Whether you want to have me type up the enforcement order and swing by the office to sign it later, or, yeah, that's probably the way we need to do it.
Yeah,
Unless, or you could actually,
we could wait and do it now.
you could actually complete it at your next meeting, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything tremendously time sensitive here.
no, I don't think that they're gonna go out there and start doing any more work right this minute.
Get my signature on something.
Oh, he's got that one somewhere.
There's a signature page on the certificate of compliance. And we can start this one here.
Oh, there's two separate ones.
Yeah,
One for the well.
one for the well, one
septic.
for the septic.
You still your pen.
Does the registry care blue ink versus black ink?
They used to.
With the
I
preference being
think now they
black?
just want to make sure it's original. They
Yeah.
used to prefer blue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, all I know so far is like wet ink.
Yeah.
Is blue okay? Sorry, we lost the paperwork on this already. It's our specialty. We've had some rough times over here.
6.
The whole municipality, like keeping anyone working, doing anything.
Oh, really?
Yes, from town administrator down to the lowliest position, whatever that might be.
Substitute teacher.
Basically it.
Right, substitute.
Those poor substitute teachers.
It's been rough. We've had, I don't know how many clerks. Now we have Mark here, remarkably capable
I'm
of
the,
his
I'm the
job.
senior, I'm the senior member at 5 weeks tenure.
We've had any number of clerks, like in the last, who knows, the last 5 years, like, phew, I can't even count them.
I don't know where.
I can count 6 right off the top.
They haven't been able to fill. I worked for Paxton for 4 hours a week.
You were
As
for
their
what?
agent.
Sorry.
Paxton. I was
Okay.
Paxton's clerk and agent.
Oh, I see.
Part-time. I was a full-time in Northborough, part-time in Paxton. They haven't been able to refill my position, and it pays very well if you know anyone. It's
Don't even
great town.
bring it up.
I'm
One of our
I
selectmen
wish I
is,
could do it, but I can't. It's a conflict.
one of
of
our
interest.
selectmen is the town administrator over there now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I heard she's being really well
Yeah.
received.
Who was that?
Shoes were hard to fill.
Heather?
Oh.
Heather Monroe.
Oh, I see. Anyway,
Last item.
okay. What else we got? Anything?
Payables. Advertising costs for public hearings. We've got one. One was for the Merriam RDA. And the other, I'm not sure. It was a little, it was like from August, but I'm guessing it was the advertisement for the CalMech public hearing. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's one for $55 that was actually the RDA for Julian Vitruba for Ragged Hill Road. That one, I've sent him a letter. You might recall I asked Michael
you asked this kid,
whether he had
right.
come with a check at our last meeting.
Right.
And he hadn't. We've got to pay the bill. I sent a letter to Julian saying, "Hey, you owe us here for the advertising costs and for
Oh,
the
Julian didn't come with a check, his son.
Right.
yeah." And we haven't actually issued the determination that they were looking for. Yeah, I told him it was going to be issued once we received payment.
All right.
Send him a note.
So so I'll send him another one. But just let
He'll
him
all of a sudden realize it's the paperwork's not complete.
Because if you don't, you won't get it.
Yeah. So just letting you know that's out there as an outstanding issue.
Tony's very assertive tonight.
The other one I'm guessing is CalMec, but I'm not sure. And I think, I think that ship has sailed. I think, and I'm guessing that we probably didn't collect payment during the chaos of the summer. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
We'll be on top of it going forward.
Right. So we have to get
So just,
approval
yeah, just sign off
and make, yeah, okay.
on paying these bills for the Gardner News.
I never had to do this before. Apparently they get paid before without us
Right.
signing anything, just for your information. Not to say that it's correct.
And we can probably, I mean, we can try it that way.
No, this is probably a better way.
All right, other matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair? I have none. Rich, do you have any?
Nope. Public comment?
Tony? No. Okay, public comments and, motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion we adjourn.
Second it?
All in favor? Aye.
Right.